Hey guys, it's Ryan again, here to do another war recap of our war win number 134 versus Clan Plowers. We didn't get all of our attacks in, but we had a couple fillers in there just to make sure we had enough players in the in the clan war. Okay, but our ratio is pretty good. Pretty happy with it, getting over 90% destruction. So for the first attack, it will be Champ's Goho. This is a pretty standard goho. There's a few things I wanted to point out, which is I really liked, which is what to do when you lose a bunch of hogs, but it turns out that your columns are covered anyway. So here he does a standard shattered, where he sends in 2 hogs. He does a little bit of funneling. He doesn't really have to worry about funneling too wide because this corner actually has a natural funnel in it. He uses the jump to get into the core. He drops his poison to make sure the CC troops are being attacked, and you see that he immediately drops his hogs. There's no reason to wait. The dragon is actually distracted the entire time by one of the golems. So he drops his heals in about 1 defense in. Like I talked about in the last video, you don't need to drop them immediately. You can actually wait about 1 or 2 defenses, and here there's a little bit of downtime. He drops his wizards behind them, so that's pretty good. The hogs at the bottom get destroyed by the double giant bomb. There's not much you can do about that. You could actually try to pre-trigger, but I think this is the first attack. But he saves it. You'll see at the top, the defenses are actually distracted by the golems, and those golems will last forever because there's only a few defenses hitting them. So he sends his wizards in just to take out those defenses. That actually alleviates the pressure on the hogs. They don't have to run around the base as far as possible. And then it just saves you some cleanup time. So Champ does a really great job dropping his wizards when he needs it. And all we have to wait for is cleanup here. His queen's completely healthy too, so that's great. Alright, for the second attack, it's attack on number 13 by Esarel. And this is kind of a goho attack, but he modifies it by adding a P.E.K.K.A. and 1 random, which I don't know what he was planning on doing here. So this is actually a stoned attack. He uses 3 different golems. What he did here is he actually placed the golems a little bit wide. I think he was trying to get that coverage on the cannon on the very side, but if you look at the way he funnels, he uses minions, so he doesn't actually have to distract those cannons. So and you'll see that this is a little bit of a mistake because when he does get everything to jump into the core, those 2 golems on the side just sit around for the rest of the raid. They don't actually go into the core, so that's kind of a bit of a waste. And golems are only they only redirect if there's about 5 or 6 tiles that they'll redirect to, and here they're 7 or 8 tiles away, so they'll never get there. But anyway, he does get at least 1 golem in there. He gets his BK, the rest of his troops in, so they're doing good work in there, and he starts his hogs. And he starts his hogs from 2 different wings, and they're just moving down the 2 sides. I actually wouldn't recommend this because your heals aren't as effective. You have to split up your heals, and you're healing less hogs than if you had just all of your army in there. But it worked out okay. This base is actually a bit of a weak base, so it's not really a problem here. And take a look at the very top. The golems are just walking back and forth, just stuck in that compartment. And actually, I recorded this in a way so that you would see those golems just walk back and forth, and they do nothing the entire way. It's kind of a bit of a waste. And at one point, he drops his 1 wizard at the bottom. I don't know what he's doing here, but recorded it just for fun. I would not recommend doing any of the tactics here in a real war, but it's a little bit entertaining to watch. Okay, so for the next raid I'm recording is number 14, and this is a gowiwi, and it's kind of a variation on gowiwi with Valkyries, except instead of using Valkyries, he uses witches. And you'll see here, he does a pretty good job of funneling with his wizards. So he puts the 2 golems actually pretty wide, so he funnels very, very wide. Leaves a few buildings in the center. And actually, in this case, he doesn't send his heroes until very late in the game. I actually would send heroes right now, and then the wizards behind them, just so that you're sure that the heroes go in. And you'll see actually he doesn't do that, and as a result, the queen actually doesn't go into the core. It just walks around the center or around the side. So he sends all of his witches in. It goes right straight in the middle because there's no more outside buildings for them to go. They go right in. Great thing about having tons of witches like that is it just distracts everything. And you have to worry a little bit about that wizard type, but he takes care of it. You see here that the Barb King almost went around, and then the Queen actually does go around. Well, this is similar to the video I had in the last war with the Valkyries, but in this one, it's the same technique. He just uses witches instead. But the difference now is that he has to use black balloons to clean up on the outside. Now, the reason you have to do this is that when you have Valkyries in the middle, they distract for a very long time. Valkyries have tons of HP and they never die, so they distract for a really long time. Whereas if you have witches and you have skeletons there, skeletons die in 1 or 2 hits, and then all of those defenses will actually redirect to the balloons. So you kind of have to have stronger balloons to get this to work. But a fun raid anyway. Okay, so the last one I'm recording is number 19, and it's by Fu, and this is a standard goho, and this is just an illustration of pre-triggering all of the giant bombs. He does a great job there, and from the Town Hall 8 perspective, if you're doing goho, you just have so large of a margin of error. You can do a lot of things and still win, as long as you're pretty smart on your heals. You get your golems into the core and they just distract for long enough. You can just do whatever you want and you'll almost always win. So here he does his Shattered, and Food really likes raging his wall breakers. That's one of his signature moves. The problem with doing that is that the golems will actually redirect really quickly, and you see how the wizard on the very left died before it was able to kill a building. So the funneling here is not that great. You see how he doesn't leave any center buildings, so when the heroes drop down, there we go, it just goes right in the circle. But again, part of my illustration for this video is just against Town Hall 8s, you can do so much. You can make so many errors, it's not that big of a deal. So his heal comes down a little bit early. You want the heal to last as long as possible, and actually the hogs were about 1.5 to 2 buildings away. You can drop them right when they're about to kill that last building and move into the heal area, just that you pre-heal, but there's no reason to have to do it more than 1 defense away because the heal might run out, especially at a Town Hall 8 level. And the great thing about Fu here is that he sent his hogs in opposite of the Barb King. And what that does is it causes the hogs to finish up at the Barb King and kill him immediately. Great raid. Alright, so that's the last video. Again, we won by 4, and congrats everyone.